charm.
What's your name? Gary, huh?
It's my game.
We put everything into this.
Those that can do it and succeed.
How to fix it.
This city
It
has
isn't
been
just a
my home for
cookbook, it's part of
Been hit here.
With the latest global news and insightful documentary.
Transition.
Understanding.
But if you ask them know me. I know they blow trees, only know ye me.
Leave your school fees.
Glad you could join us for our 7:30 news bulletin. My name is Tandy Wemzumara. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV calls for professionalism and integrity in canonical justice. Political expert cautions public as presidential decisions spark speculation over executive relations. Malawi Human Rights Commission, MHRC, pushes for review of Access to Information Act amid enforcement gaps. And in other news, Nigeria to try military officers over alleged coup plot against President Tinubu. We do have the details to these stories and more. Just stay with us. Pope Leo XIV has called on members of the Roman Rota to uphold professionalism, integrity, and timely justice in canonical proceedings, stressing that the Church's highest tribunal in canon law must inspire trust as it carries out a mission that directly affects the lives and consciences of the faithful. The Holy Father made these remarks on Monday during a meeting with the prelate auditors and officials of the Tribunal of the Roman Rota in the Vatican on the occasion of the inauguration of its judicial year. We have more details in this Rome report read by Charity Chilanga.
The Roman Rota is composed of auditors, judges appointed directly by the Pope, and is presided over by a dean. Its name, derived from the Latin word rota, meaning wheel, is traditionally explained either by the secular room in which the auditors once met, or by the arrangement in which they sat to judge cases. Addressing the auditors, Pope Leo XIV underlined the responsibility entrusted to them, stressing that canonical justice directly touches the lives and consciences of the faithful. The Holy Father emphasized that the faithful and the entire ecclesial community have a right to the correct and timely exercise of judicial procedures. He noted that such processes are not merely technical, but form part of a broader pastoral mission of the Church. The Roman Rota, while officially regulated under Pope John Paul XXIII through the Apostolic Constitution Ratio Laris, has its origins much earlier, having been established in the year 1331. Over the centuries, it has continued to serve as a key instrument in safeguarding justice within the Church. Concluding his address, Pope Leo XIV encouraged the members of the tribunal to carry out their work with dedication and integrity, mindful that their service contributes to trust in the church's judicial system and to the spiritual good of the people of God.
Political expert Ernest Tindwa has urged the public not to jump to conclusions about potential dysfunction between the office of the president and that of the vice president following President Peter Mutharika's recent decisions to move certain departmental responsibilities to his office. The moves have sparked mixed reactions among citizens. On Saturday, January 23, 2026, President Mutharika directed that the Department of Public Sector Reforms Management be placed under the office of the President and Cabinet a few days after transferring the Department of Disaster Management Affairs to his office. Constance Kamtemeni has filed this report.
In an interview with Luntha television, Tindwa said it would be premature to interpret these administrative changes as evidence of conflict, warning that doing so could create baseless narratives in the country. While acknowledging that Malawi's political history has seen similar shifts, he noted that it is too early to draw conclusions about the current relationship between the two offices. Tindwa added that the Vice President's office in Malawi lacks defined responsibilities beyond delegated tasks from the President, a situation that has occasionally led to tensions within government operations.
It is an issue that has attracted public attention. If you look at social media platforms, people have been talking about that, and that was expected. And you see people speculating as to what might have led to the decisions that have been made in respect of shifting responsibility that were delegated to the office of the Vice President. Yes, that certainly will always attract public attention. But at the end of the day, we need to appreciate that the office of the Vice President and that of the second Vice President are delegated. When those responsibilities were being allocated to the office of the Vice President, it was on the basis of delegation. So the delegator.
Previously, the Departments of Disaster Management Affairs and Public Sector Reforms had been delegated to the Vice President's office. The President's decision to move them to his office was explained as a measure to facilitate reforms across all ministries, align and consolidate the functions of the Public Sector Reforms Management Department, and enhance political accountability in public sector reforms. Several individuals and stakeholders have weighed in on the matter, speculating about possible dysfunction between the two offices. Constance Kamtemen, Luntha News in Lilongwe.
Minister of Information Dr. Shadrack Namalomba has emphasized the need for all government and non-governmental institutions to work together to protect people's online communications and the systems used to run various services. According to Namalomba, as the country progresses, it is also important for citizens to avoid misusing modern online methods and instead prioritize the country's development and achieve its vision. The minister was speaking in Lilongwe as he presided over the launch of the Data Privacy Week. We have more details in this report read by Patrick Popper.
In his remarks, Namalomba emphasized the need for stronger data protection measures and responsible use of the Internet. He pointed out that the Internet should be used as a tool to drive development and support the country's development vision, warning against its misuse.
You see, if we are going to attract investment, if we are going to create the jobs for our youth, if we are going to get the citizens to trust their government, everyone must join us, both the private sector as well as the public sector. And that requires that we must have systems that can be trusted. And these systems are about how you generate data, how you use that or process that data, but also how you share that data.
MACRA Acting Director General Maimiko Nkoloma has since reaffirmed the authorities' commitment to protecting personal data, noting that the increased internet connectivity has made personal information a highly valuable asset. Concurring with Nkoloma, the authorities' chairperson, Council Chancellor Gondwe, emphasized that privacy is a fundamental right, not a privilege, and stressed that digital transformation must be built on a secure environment where privacy protection is a priority.
The direction that we are supposed to take as MACRA in the right way. The Act was passed in 2024. So operators were given about 2 years, and the 2 years lapse is June 2026. And thereafter, we shall proceed with monitoring and enforcement. For now, it's all about awareness, civic education, awareness, so that people and the citizens should appreciate and understand what data protection is all about. So that's what is happening now. But shortly, we shall be into monitoring and enforcement. So the stakeholders, the players in the industry are supposed to start complying from June going forward.
Running under the theme Privacy by Design, Data Privacy Week is an international effort to empower individuals and businesses to respect privacy, safeguard data, and enable trust. For Luntha News, this is Patrick Pupa.
The Malawi Human Rights Commission, MHRC, has called for an urgent review of the Access to Information Act, citing weak enforcement powers, law compliance by public institutions, and funding challenges. MHRC says the current law contains gaps and inconsistencies that allow institutions to withhold information, undermining citizens' right to access public information. MHRC Deputy Director for Civil and Political Rights and Head of the Access to Information Unit, Chanseka Lokesha, says compliance levels remain low, with less than 50% of institutions taking necessary steps to implement the Act. He was speaking on Tuesday during an interface with the Parliamentary Committee on Media, Communication and Technology at the Parliament building in Lilongwe. Gift Karonga has more details in this report.
In an interview, MHRC Deputy Director for Civil and Political Rights and the Head of Access to Information Unit, Chanseka Lokesia, said the Commission is not satisfied with current compliance levels, noting that many institutions have not taken practical steps to operationalize the Access to Information Act. Karokesia said enforcement remains a major challenge as the law only allows MHRC to make recommendations to non-compliant institutions without direct enforcement powers unless matters are taken to court, a situation he said weakens accountability. He added that MHRC has already submitted a concept note proposing the review and amendment of the Act to the Ministry of Information and Digitalization in May 2025, but the Commission is still awaiting a response to initiate the amendment process.
We need two critical things. One is to raise massive awareness in terms of information seekers being empowered to seek information, to demand information from information holders. Secondly is to hold information holders accountable, institutions accountable in terms of them being compliant with the provisions of the Access to Information Act.
On his part, Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Media, Communication and Technology and Member of Parliament for Zomba Matia, Kingswell Ripuga, said the committee has noted with concern that many institutions are still withholding information despite the existence of the Access to Information Act. Ripuga said the committee will work with MHRC to identify non-compliant institutions and exercise its oversight role by summoning them to Parliament to explain their failure to comply with the law, adding that issues of law review and funding challenges will be addressed through appropriate parliamentary procedures.
We have seen that there is a gap in terms of implementation. The law was passed to access to information, but what we have discovered is that not many of the institutions are able to implement this. Some are still holding to the past as if there is no law passed. So this is something that we have received with concern, and the action has to be done as to the way forward together with us as the Parliament.
Meanwhile, the Malawi Human Rights Commission has urged government to adequately fund access to information initiatives to strengthen implementation of the law. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Good governance and political expert George Shaima has urged government to turn its words into action on inclusive governance following a recent press release in which authorities reaffirmed their commitment to inclusivity and warned against the politicization of public programs. Shaima's remarks come amid growing concerns that some government initiatives are not being implemented fairly on the ground, despite official assurances that all Malawians should benefit equally. We have more details in this report found by Emmanuel Shiocha.
Speaking to Luntha Television, Shaima said President Professor Peter Mutharika has consistently emphasized that all Malawians deserve to enjoy the benefits of their country, regardless of political affiliation, religion, or region. He stressed that Malawi belongs to everyone and called on the government to ensure that the principles of inclusivity are fully upheld and translated into tangible action, not just statements. Shaima described Professor